And that was Lady in the Streets by the young lady now joining me live in studio, Little Bit.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Not too bad at all. So did you want to talk about that song a little bit? Where it came from?
Lady in the Streets.
Go
that
ahead.
was my first single that I released in 2009. It was off of my EP, self-titled Lady in the Streets.
Okay.
And it's got its actually first big push over here in Toronto. So it's been sort of an anthem for me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's still today one of my favorites for sure.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let's start at the start.
Okay.
I guess. How did you first get involved with music?
Well, I guess when I was a young kid, I was very musical, and my parents picked up on that, so they enrolled me in this little kids group in the Middle East where I was living at the time.
Okay.
I was born there.
Okay.
And
right
it was a 30-piece kids group who would get together weekly to do rehearsals, and we sort of chose all over the place. So I've been performing since I was about 5 years old.
Okay.
And it just continued that way. Came to Canada in '97 and was very involved in music in school. In high school, music was a really big deal, It was sports. In elementary, I did sports and music, but when I got into high school, it was one or the other, and it just seemed fit to do music. And my dad was very musical, too, growing up. He played guitar and sang, so I got a lot of my music from him. He had a wide variety of, music catalogs, and so in high school, I took about, 5 music courses.
Okay.
I think I was in, guitar and music composition and choir and jazz choir and something else I can't remember right now, but that definitely, kept my point average up.
Fair enough.
So that was good. And when I was graduating high school, my music teacher, whose last name is Shepherd, actually, funny enough, Tony Shepherd, he really encouraged me to continue on with the music. So I studied jazz and contemporary voice at Vancouver Community College for about 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and then decided to just pursue a full-time musical performance career, you know what I mean? So I just kept going on that way.
Fair
so it's
enough.
just been a constant part of my life,
Right on. I have to ask, though, had you not picked music, what sports would you be playing? What were you excelling in elementary?
I don't think I was necessarily excelling at any sport. I think I really enjoyed it. I was involved in basketball. I did volleyball. I did a lot of track.
Okay.
So a lot of running and all that stuff. Shot put, all that stuff. But I enjoyed it, but it was never a passion of mine.
Okay.
So I don't think that I would have done sports anyway, regardless. Just music has always been, like I said, a big part of my life, and it just seemed like the most obvious thing, and I enjoy it a lot, obviously. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
And we'll get more into it, I suppose, as tonight wears on. But of all the genres out there, what made you settle on a sort of reggae feel to your music? What made you jump into that?
Well, I wouldn't say that I necessarily settled with it to begin with, but growing up, I did listen to all kinds of music. Country was a big thing. Like my dad, listened to a lot of different types of music. But when I was around, the 10th grade, I bought my first guitar, and I started doing a lot of singing, songwriting, and so I was into country music a lot. Right. And I also have a R&B background and jazz, obviously, studying in college after. But what happened was that when I was in college, the good thing about music school, besides, the education and, furthering your knowledge with music and where it's concerned to be able to read and understand the language, is that, there's a great space there for you to network and socialize with other musicians. And and most of the people that, the instructors that taught at the music school have a extensive musical background. So through socializing with, fellow musicians at the school, I met some people that were very involved in the reggae and hip-hop scene. And I got introduced to the reggae scene that way, and I ended up joining a reggae band called Natural Flavors, which are still going, they're still going on right now, based out of Vancouver.
Right on.
And,
shout out to them if they're listening in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right on.
So, that's kind of just how I got into it. And before, I started off as a backup singer in the band.
Okay.
And then, after I did some shows and got more comfortable with the music, I started doing some solo stuff, and people were requesting for me to do more solo stuff in the band, and it just clicked. It's kind of more. It was a spiritual thing for me, music,
okay.
and it's passionate too, because it wasn't just the music alone or the feel of the music, but I was very involved around that time in the Jamaican scene in Vancouver.
Okay.
So I got very influenced by them to really learn the culture of the music, and I had gotten a job at a Jamaican restaurant in Vancouver.
Okay, right on.
Serving,
okay.
so that I could be more into the culture of it.
Right.
So from day one, it's been about the whole cultural aspect of reggae, not just the offbeat.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah, and it's just a passion of mine, and I click with it, but it's not. I wouldn't consider my music to be solely that or authentic reggae music, because I'm not from Jamaica and I don't know authentic, or
right.
I couldn't produce an authentic reggae sound. So the reggae, yes, is a big part of my music, and I would consider myself a reggae artist, but it definitely has a fusion of jazz and R&B and rock and country and all that. It's kind of a unique sound, I think.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I think it's more catered to me as an artist and what I feel is a proper representation of my creativity.
Fair enough. And I guess that leads into my next question, actually. You mentioned through music catalogs and through your music teacher, you said the two of them, they were one of your influences. But who would you say, I guess, musically, like, I guess the people or the bands that you were listening to, like, what sort of music were you listening to that now kind of, I guess, comes through with what you're doing now?
I guess it started in phases, like when I was younger, listening to more of the top 40 stuff at the time, in the late 80s, 90s, like Michael Jackson, Mariah, and Whitney, of course, and vocally, that's who I was listening to, Celine Dion. And then later on, when I got into high school, I was listening to stuff like, more country stuff, so like Shania Twain and Willie Nelson, like Patsy Cline, like some old school stuff.
Like the old country.
Yeah, the old country.
Okay.
And a bit of new, but I love the old country for sure.
Right, okay.
And then later on, I got more into like hip-hop and rock to like Guns N' Roses. I love Guns N' Roses.
Okay, right on.
For sure. I just went to their concert in December. It was crazy.
Nice.
I was in the front row. It was amazing.
That's
and
awesome.
Axl can still after all these years. And then I started listening to like a lot of Erykah Badu and Tanya Stephens, who's a big reggae dancehall artist from Jamaica, veteran, and I got to open for her this year actually in Vancouver and Victoria, BC, which was really amazing. And lyrically too and stylistically, I listen to and am influenced a lot by Damian Marley.
Okay.
So actually. Speaking on that, when I first came into reggae, I was given a couple of his albums as a gift. Okay. And so I listened to a lot of his music, and that influenced a lot of my writing styles and my flow.
Right, okay.
So I would definitely say he's somebody that I'm inspired by, influenced by musically. And Erykah Badu, did I say Erykah Badu? Yeah. Yes. She's wicked too. I got to see her as well in concert. So it's really kind of everything, Like, I'm not really, like, and on the jazz too, obviously, like Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, and I'm not really sort of, just like how my music, I don't really listen to like one specific genre or music or I'm not like a diehard rock fan only or, I've just started listening to more reggae now, but, it's funny, I don't really listen to too much of one thing. It's sort of everything. It's a fusion, so. Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
It's neat.
Right on.
Keeps it exciting.
I guess so. Well, on that note, we're going to play a couple of songs. We're going to play a couple of yours, a couple of songs by others. We're going to kick it off with, I suppose we'll do One Night Ting.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Did you want to say anything, set the song up, or? Well,
this song is one that I wrote in Vancouver, one of the very first recordings I did, and this one's off of my EP, Lady in the Streets. And yeah, it's called One Night Ting.
Cool. All right. You're listening to Radio Nation. You can tweet us at radio_nation if you want to send some messages to the show. If you're interested in getting in contact with us otherwise, you could radionation@hotmail.com or facebook.com/radionation.ca. So this is One Night Ting by Lil Bit. You're listening to Radio Nation. I'm Andrew.
The girl go round them, see the man a sweat and stuff it drip just like a fountain. Her body girl a whiny, and a man want to jump on it, but I'm not gonna get none till I'm a respect and recognize it. 'Cause this girl I wanting more than your money can afford, and me no go get it right up on the dance floor. True love is when me want and not a temporary one night thing. They say nobody with your $1 million coming, no rock, no bling bling. And if you want to be my king, me now go give you less than everything. So me give you all me love, and if you love it, I know one night stand. 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 Enough more want to come check me, when they want them want to check me. Them chatting sweet lyrics, things send me soft, but them can't break me. See me little but not foolish, they know me be not true. This type of wicked-minded man, me not gon' make no compromises. 'Cause righteous man me need to complete all of my dreams and fill my every little fantasy. True love is when me want and not a temporary one night thing. They say nobody with your $1 million coming, no rock, no bling bling. And if you want to be my king, me not go give you less than everything. So me give you all me love, and if you love it, I know one night stand. Well, true love is when me want and not a temporary one night thing. They said nobody with your $1 million coming, no rock, no bling bling. And if you want to be my king, me not go give you less than everything. So me give you all me love, and if you love it, I know one night stand. One night stand. One night stand. Wah, 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 one night stand. Wah, 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 one night stand. 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 Wah, 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 one night stand.
So, yeah. We're back. You're listening to Radio Nation. I'm Andrew, joined live in studio with Lil Bit.
Hi,
Hi.
Dean again.
What's
I'm here.
up?
I'm here with a couple of my bandmates
I
from
can see that.
Toronto.
What's up, guys?
We got Steve,
Oh.
aka Golden Child.
Golden
here.
Child.
And
Let me write that down just so I know to reference you as that,
Yeah.
not Steve.
yeah, and we have Uncle Mike in the house.
Do you want me calling you Uncle Mike, or would you rather just Mike?
Mike's okay.
Mike's good. Okay, I figured it would be.
Your voice is deeper than mine.
Fair enough. Literally live, as we're on air, we're adjusting the microphones to make sure everybody can be heard. That's the kind of show we run sometimes here on Radio Nation. You just kind of play the hand you're dealt. Cool. How's that work for everybody?
Cool, it works.
All right, groovy. I can just, there we go. I'll just boost that so that everything comes through like you're screaming at me.
Okay, perfect.
So, I'd appreciate it if you didn't. So tell me a little bit. I guess you really can jump in and answer this, but how did you first all get together?
Should I answer it first, and then you guys can tell them your opinion? Well, I have a band that I work with in Vancouver that I've been working with for some time.
Right. Okay.
Got Richard Brown. I want to big them up. Richard Brown, Matt Reed, Dylan Monroe, and Devin Martin, a.k.a. Mr. Metro, who's actually from out here. You know
Okay.
Mr. Metro. And when I came out here in 2009 to do some music, I linked up with these guys, and their band's called Fusion Band, and they're like the best reggae band here in Toronto. So it's nice to be here with them, and they're very supportive of me. And you know what? They're my family. So
fair enough.
Look, Mike, come closer. Talk to the people.
I won't bite, I swear. I realize you're sitting closest to me, but I'm actually not that bad.
Okay.
Mike's passing it to Steve. Steve's passing it back to Mike. I feel like I'm doing the play-by-play for a hockey game right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. Little bit kind of came down, as you said, in 2009. And, we do a lot of work with her management team. And we ended up kind of meeting that way. And we definitely kind of, she gelled with the family, so we accepted her as one of our own and took her in. And, yeah.
Aw, shucks.
She's like the little sister that none of us ever had. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
So, yeah, man.
That's cool. So I want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned that you've done like a ridiculous amount of shows in your music career.
Right.
So I want to talk a little bit about touring and what that experience is like, and traveling and stuff like that.
It's definitely a lot of fun, to be able to go out on the road and do
Right
shows and, just sort of reach different networks of people and different scenes, if you will.
Right.
It gets tiring, and you're really busy. Like this last run, being out here, I've been busy every day, all day, from the time I get up till the time I go to sleep. Some days don't get too much sleep, and as a result of that, I'm a little bit sick today.
Oh,
but,
okay.
That's the sacrifice you make. I just got to be on top, or any artist has to be on top of their, their sleep and their food and their diet when they're traveling. But I enjoy it a lot, music, just doing what I do. So, but yeah, it's great, and it's you meet lots of different people. Like I met these guys just from coming out here.
Right. Okay.
And so it's a really good experience all around.
Well, I appreciate you making that sacrifice coming in, even though you're sick.
Yeah. Oh
Awesome.
no, I wouldn't have missed it. So.
It was a blast. I appreciate that, honestly.
Thanks.
So tell me about, I guess, well, being based out of Vancouver, I guess Toronto's kind of far, but what would you say is the farthest place you've gone from you, either performing or just to network with people? Where's the farthest from Vancouver you've been?
I haven't been that far, because I've been doing music for a really long time, and I started performing, when I was 5, but my own solo career has only been kicking since about 2009.
Okay,
when I met
fair
these
enough.
guys. That was my first, I guess my debut into the scene when I came out
okay.
here. So, I've been to a couple places in the States, and
okay.
but mostly it's just been around Canada, and mostly back and forth between, my two backyards.
Okay.
Vancouver and Toronto.
Right on.
Just getting sort of a proper foundation here first, where I'm from, and but I plan to be going out further in the next year, and to expand more of my horizons there where the music's concerned, for sure. So that's definitely a plan. It's in my list of things to do.
Now, are those plans that you can talk about, or is that stuff that's like up in the air and it's all hush hush? And
no, nothing's necessarily hush hush per se. Definitely want to try to go out in and around the States more,
Right,
for
okay.
Sure. I haven't been to New York yet. I got to go out there.
Right.
Jamaica is definitely somewhere where I need to go, and I'm planning to go sometime this year.
Right, okay.
And, it's just one day at a time, getting the music together. And my debut album is going to be dropping in the second week of May.
Okay.
So that will push things in gear a little bit.
Right on. Uh-oh.
Sorry, I have to...
That's fine.
Is everyone getting that?
Yeah, I think that
Cool.
came through loud and clear. All of our listeners will know that you're not feeling well. You weren't just lying.
I know, no, I'm really not feeling well, but it's all good.
All right, cool. So tell me a little bit about the Junos.
Oh, the Junos, yeah, that was a really cool experience. That happened last year.
Right, okay.
It's Juno time again, as you know.
Right.
So, it was neat because I had submitted this song for the Junos that are recorded on this rhythm-driven compilation that Danny Maestro, a producer in Toronto, had built.
Right, okay.
And, it just got a really good response, and I hadn't expected such a climb, I guess, musically in such a short period of time.
Uh-huh.
But it was very exciting.
Okay.
And a fun experience for sure, and very honored, obviously, to be recognized in that way.
Right. Okay.
But
now, were you at the award ceremony?
I was.
Okay.
Yes,
so
I was. Well, they had it split up into days, I guess. So
Okay.
they had we got different categories. Go the day before. They don't air everything on television.
Right. Yeah. Obviously. Right.
So I was there for sure, and I was up there. Got to receive my Juno. It was neat because like Neil Young was there. That was
Right.
pretty
Yeah.
crazy. The next day I also attended the broadcast, so it was a cool experience to have Shania Twain like sitting 2 seats in front of me, like almost have touched her hair, but that would have been a little awkward.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But it was neat. It was definitely a cool experience, and my first time. And I went with my manager and her little son.
Okay, cool.
Carl. So it was kind of a fun vibe,
Right on.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to ask you, like, take me through that experience where you're at the Junos and you've submitted the song and you're being considered, I guess. But what was going through your mind right as you found out and right after you found out you had won the Juno?
Okay, like the moment that I found out, because they don't tell you beforehand.
Right. No. Yeah. No. I understand.
They announce it. It was. Well, I guess obviously you have a potential of winning if you've been nominated, so
right.
You have a chance. But it was it's always a toss up. You never know really what's gonna happen. And
right.
I knew that I had won before they said my name. I guess they were announcing it's the title of the song first or whatever, and the presenter Seamus had opened the envelope and he couldn't say about Metalawa.
Okay.
So he kind of had stuttered a little bit and was kind of squinting and trying to read it, and I knew that I had won. And then he said my name shortly after, so it was pretty crazy. I was very nervous, obviously, because I'm like, okay, crap. Now I have to go up there and say something smart, and dragged my manager with me, and we went up there and we were running the wrong way, and I heard the whole entire place go the other way, and I was like, oh no. Okay, so I started running the other way, and all I could see is like myself bobbing up and down the big greens that were all around, and
that's awesome.
It's kind of funny because I guess like people had picked up on that. I was maybe nervous or I was just like flustered, and
right.
It was kind of neat that they were all trying to help out and tell me to go the right way.
That's awesome.
But I was very nervous. But surprisingly, when I watched back the footage, I thought that the speech was well delivered. I made sure that I mentioned everybody necessary
right.
for that particular time,
mm-hmm.
and it went over well. And yeah, it was neat. It's not something you can prepare for because you don't really realize like all the other stuff that goes on, and how it really works. Because you go on there and they hand you this Juno, but it's not your Juno. It's like a demo Juno or whatever.
Right. Okay.
And they whisk you away, and you go back. You have to go up to this room, and they put you in this green room or whatever, and they touch up your makeup, and then they send you to this other room, and there's like all this press. That
right,
was
okay.
the nervous part because I walked into a room. I didn't know where they were taking me. They were just like this way. Went into this room. There was like maybe 30 cameras in my face. Like
wow.
I walked in like, so I started just goofing off and making funny faces, and the picture that they used of me on the Juno website is of me kind of doing like a little screw face and kicking up my leg or whatever. So all those things that you don't really prepare for because you don't know. They don't tell you that, and when
mm-hmm.
you watch it on TV, it seems like something completely different.
Yeah.
So it was kind of neat to be like, oh, so this is what it's like behind the cameras, like what really happens. And I guess they mail you your Juno, like.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask, do they give you a trophy right at the
No, they
event?
don't. They just, wherever you go, in every room where you have to take a photo, there's somebody in those rooms with a Juno that you just use, and whatever, because they're all the same until they, engrave your name on it or whatever, and mail it out to you.
Fair enough.
So it was very exciting, though. I'm not gonna lie, I was stoked. I was really happy.
And refresh my memory, where were the Junos last year?
They were here. They were here in Toronto.
They were in Toronto. Okay.
They were here, and this year they're going to be in Ottawa for sure.
Okay, right on. Are you planning on making the trip over just to
to support?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna try my best. I know my manager's going up for sure to support, but it depends on where I'll be, and what I'll be doing musically, and it's a bit of a trek.
Yeah.
As well, because I'm gonna be going back to Vancouver on Saturday, so we'll see. either way, I'll be supporting, regardless of if I'm there or not. So.
And it's great that you brought it up, actually, that you're going back to Vancouver. I wanted to talk a little bit about, I guess, about the difference between either musically or I guess, what would you say would be the difference between the Vancouver music scene versus the Toronto music scene? Or is there a difference? Is it you go to either city and it's the same thing? Like, what does each city offer that's different, would you say?
Yeah, you know what? I think different is the word. I don't know if necessarily one scene is better or worse than the other, or more progressive or not than the other. Depends on what particular scene you're in. Like, if you're going to ask me about the reggae scene specifically, I can answer that. With everything else, it's different. Like, we have a big, jazz scene in Vancouver, and we have amazing underground hip hop artists in Vancouver and R&B singers, like amazing. We have some good talent too in Vancouver where the reggae scene is concerned, but we don't have such a big Caribbean community over there.
Right. Okay.
We don't have too many reggae artists that are actively pursuing the music, so I would say that the music scene where reggae is concerned is more active over here in Toronto, and it's bigger.
Right on.
So, there's definitely more opportunities for reggae artists out here, per se.
Okay.
In Vancouver, I think, I don't even know if there's another female artist in Vancouver that's really doing reggae right now. Like, reggae.
Fair enough.
Real reggae music. There's definitely some bands out there, but even the bands, they don't really thrive for very long because, the following is not huge, but we're trying to build it, There's a couple of artists that are from outside of Vancouver and different parts of BC have just moved to Vancouver. So, another good friend of mine, actually, Maja, she's originally from here and lived in Jamaica for a couple of years, is now moving back to Vancouver.
Right.
So, even that is kind of brings a little bit more of an element and excitement to the scene. She's more on the hip hop, but she definitely has reggae influence.
Right. Okay.
So, but I like the balance of both for sure. Like, when I come out here, I get really busy and I do a lot. In Vancouver, I maintain it over there as well because it's my scene and I know how to run it personally,
Right, okay.
So, I guess it's a toss-up. It depends on what you want and what you're looking for, but I'd say they're both great overall,
Fair enough.
And Vancouver's just different anyway. Like, just the whole lifestyle is different. It's a little bit more laid back.
Okay.
Whereas here, I think it's a little bit more fast-paced over here.
Fair enough. Well, you're speaking to somebody who's never been to Vancouver, right? So, like...
You need to go.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I've been out of Ontario once.
Okay, you need to go to Vancouver the next time you go out. It's definitely a very, very beautiful province for sure. BC is amazing.
Right. Might even be able to meet Nick, who's out in Vancouver, North Vancouver right now. Or maybe he's in Victoria. I don't know. He was
Hey, Nick, what's up?
What's happening, buddy?
Nick actually... Nick actually facilitated this, and he hit me up on Twitter, which is kind of cool. And it's funny that he was in Vancouver, and I was coming out here, and it was just so convenient that he said that the station's actually out here.
Yeah.
So we were able to do it.
And it's funny because when he was setting this up and he sent me the email, he's like, and I've got somebody from Vancouver coming on. I'm like, cool, so that's a pre-recorded interview. When are you going to send it to me? He's like, no. She's in Toronto. She's coming to do the interview.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, cool.
I know. That's really cool because we were trying to link up and I couldn't because I was shooting a video.
Right.
And I said, I won't have time and I'm leaving the next day to go to Toronto. And he goes, oh, actually, that's perfect. And so, anyway, here I am.
And yet here we are. There you go.
Yeah. Perfect.
Right. Well, on that note, we're going to take another quick music break. We're going to start off with Judge Not.
All right, cool. Judge Not. This song originally on the World Consciousness Unification Project, which is produced out of Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
By a friend of mine that goes by Blue Jay Hankins. And I'm actually going to be part of the World Consciousness concert series festival in June over there. And he's putting it on too. So this is a song that was from that project.
Fair enough. Okay, and you're listening to it live on Radio Nation. Well, enough of that silent stuff. Let's turn on my microphone. That's a good start.
Woo!
I forgot I pulled this one over so that Uncle Mike could have my microphone.
Uncle Mike is being really shy on the mic right now.
Uncle Mike on the mic.
Listen, once I get started, I'll steal the show. So.
It's all right, Uncle Mike. You can steal the show if you want.
Okay,
that
Uncle Mike's here in the building.
Yay! Hey, I want to quickly big up my homie Will from Philly, who's listening in from Denver right now. Denver. And check him out. He's one of my really good friends and one of my sponsors as well. Check out his website, crippledscience.com. crippledscience.com. He's got some really good stuff on there. So big up, Will. Know you're listening.
Science or science?
Science.
Science. Okay. Just wanted to be sure, just so that people
crippled
don't.
Science. Sorry, it's my cold. Yeah, no,
That's
not
cool.
crippled.
I completely understand.
Yeah, and sorry for my coughing outburst earlier.
I'll let it go that time, but if it happens again, I'm gonna have to kick you out of the studio.
Okay.
Just FYI, and then you don't get to take part in the speed round.
No, I want to take part in the speed round.
See,
sounds like so much fun.
It is a lot.
Can
of fun.
3 people play, or is it
absolutely
okay?
Okay, but Steve, you got to decide whose team you're going to be on, because I think it's going to be Uncle Mike versus Lil Bit. I think that's how we're going to run this.
I
Dang.
can just facilitate and judge. I can help you judge.
You can judge.
Okay, he's going to be the mediator.
Okay.
Me and Uncle Mike.
I almost want to do this contest now, but I have more questions to get to
Okay,
first.
yeah, no problem.
So we'll do the questions first quickly, and then we'll get to the speed round, I promise.
Okay.
So one of the big things that we really hold near and dear here on Radio Nation, being an internet radio show, is how people get in contact with social media, because a lot of obviously how we got in contact with you was through Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter.
And there's Facebook, MySpace, YouTube, all those different sites. So tell me a little bit about to what extent that you use social media.
Well, when I first started doing a lot of my initial music promotion and pushing, I used MySpace a lot and Facebook. I find that Twitter is a lot more effective because you have, it's like a huge database. You have a link to everybody, and if you're just interested in making, links where your personal business is concerned, with the music, you can surround your network with those type of people, and as opposed to Facebook is more of a personal thing, or it started off that way, and I know now people have separate pages, but Twitter, I find it's more efficient, it's easier to link with people, and it's also good for privacy because, if you're not following the person back, then they can't sort of message you or spam you or whatever, you know what I mean? And you can lock your account as well, which is also good.
Right.
And I find that it's sort of it's like Facebook, but it's more efficient and it's minus all the other frilly stuff, like all the different apps that Facebook has, like Farmville or whatever that I used to be on.
And that's something that I hear a lot from artists is that word for word, basically what you just said is that Twitter is like Facebook without all the extra crap.
Exactly, and it's just good for business networking.
Crap is usually what they use.
Yeah, I find it's really
Mr. Zuckerberg.
Yeah, I find it's really good for business networking, and it's like efficient. You know what I mean? And it's just easier and it's more streamlined. I think.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I prefer Twitter, and that's how I linked up with you guys. So far, it's been doing. I've actually made quite a few connections since I started my Twitter account and figured out how to use it. And I love it. I'm an avid Tweeter.
I think. I'm not sure. Maybe Tweeter.
Tweeter. Yeah.
That just sounds odd.
Yeah.
So obviously you use that to get in contact with other musicians or with radio shows. But how are you using social media to get in contact or to stay in contact with your fans? Would you say?
Well, I see. That's the other thing. I think a lot of my fans are on Facebook.
Okay.
Right now, because when I first started, I built up my database that way, via Facebook. So the cool thing about Twitter is that you can link it to your Facebook.
Yep.
So anything that I'm doing on Twitter, even the people that aren't on Twitter, they're still aware of what I'm doing, and they can still follow me that way, on Facebook, and have that linked to my fan page on Facebook as well. So I still have a good connect with my fans, and my fans link me up on Facebook. And, I respond to them via messaging, or they leave comments on my wall. So I think it's still pretty good. But more and more people are, getting onto the Twitter thing.
Right, okay.
So I think it's a good balance.
And while we're on the subject, what is your Twitter?
Pardon me.
And I said, while we're on the subject, what is your Twitter so that people can follow you?
Lilbit Music, so that's at LILBITMUZIK.
Gotcha.
And all my social networks are Lilbit Music.
Okay.
So everything / Lilbit Music.
Okay. So are we talking MySpace,
Facebook,
YouTube?
Yep, YouTube.
Okay.
And then my website is lilbitmusic.com.
Okay,
so
cool.
I kind of streamline everything so it's just the same, you know?
Right on.
Easy to find, yeah.
And now for my shameless self-promotion. You can also follow us on Twitter at radio_nation. Facebook.com/radionation.ca. Make sure you throw in the .ca because if you just do Facebook.com/radionation, I think they're Italian, but it's another Radio Nation. And you can also find everything for us. It's always at radionation.ca. We're right in the middle of a web redesign right now, so some of our content is up, some of it isn't. All of our pages look different. It's just it's a whole sorted mess right now. But Nick, I know, is working like 27 hours a day trying to figure it all out on top of everything he's doing in Vancouver. So we should have it all figured out. I want to say by April that we'll have absolutely everything caught up, and we'll hopefully have a couple more features too.
Yeah. Wicked. But you guys are doing a really good job, and the communication has been awesome.
I appreciate that.
For sure.
Well, and it's funny because I know he does the exact same thing I do, is that we'll send out tweets and we'll send out emails and everything like that, and then the other guy goes in behind and is like, okay, so he did this, and this. Okay, cool, now I'm all caught up.
Yeah.
Like, the communication out from Radio Nation is great, but between the two Radio Nation guys, it's terrible some days, I have to admit.
So. But it still works. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
You guys are on the right track.
I appreciate hearing that. Awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about some of your songs and about how, I guess maybe some of the inspirations, maybe not, but take me through, I guess, the writing style, writing process. Take me through how your stuff gets written.
Okay. Some days I sit down and I set out to write, so I'll have times where I say, okay, today I'm going to write something. Mm-hmm. And in the past, it was a struggle because I felt that most of my writing or my ideas for songs kind of came to me when I wasn't in a writing zone.
Right, okay.
Like when I was on the bus or something, or in the shower, or in the middle of my sleep. Mm-hmm. And I would wake up from a sleep and just write lyrics down. But I've been I'm working, like I said, my debut album is coming out May, second week of May. But the second album I've already been working on, and it features a lot of different makers around Canada. Okay. So they've been sending me beats, and I think just because I've been more exposed to the hip hop scene in the last year, my lyrical content has gotten better because you know how these hip hop cats, they're like really wordy and they're really sort of intricate with some of the stuff that they write, and it's very creative. Mm-hmm. And so I think that just by being around that scene, my writing has gotten better. So I've been getting these beats, and I've been having sessions where I sit down and I'll write, and my inspiration comes from a lot of what I write is literal. Right. It's not necessarily from my own personal experience, although a lot of it is. Mm-hmm. I sort of just write about what I think is important. I like to say something concrete when I'm writing a song. Okay. It's not necessarily always serious, but it says something. There's a message to it. I don't really like to write about random nonsense. Right. I mean, I might one day. Just that's where I am right now. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, it's sort of just a toss-up. Depends on the day and how I'm feeling. Some days I set out to write and just nothing comes to me.
Gotcha.
So it's just whenever the inspiration hits.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. As I go through my list of questions, I just want to make sure I've gotten everything before we hit the speed round.
Okay, cool.
Speed round.
Yeah.
Now, this is a pretty stock question that I'm sure you've been asked before, but it's also one of the staples here at Radio Nation. If you weren't doing music, what do you think you would be doing right now? Nothing. Well,
it's really hard to say because I've been doing music my whole life. It's not something that I came into like last year and said, I think I'm going to become a singer.
Absolutely, right.
It's just I've been doing it literally my entire life. So I don't really know. Well, okay, let's put it like this. If, I just for some reason couldn't make music tomorrow, I would probably do something creative, like that still involved art in some form. Like
Gotcha.
maybe I would become a chef or something.
Cool.
Or a baker or
Right on.
Master crocheter or something like that. Or world-class auto tinter. Because that's what I used to do, actually. One of the other brothers in the band, Andy Lee, who's a good friend of mine, when I lived out here, I lived here.
Okay.
Last year, or from
At
2010.
Centennial College?
No, not at Centennial College in Toronto. I lived in Toronto from 2010 to 11.
Okay.
And that's what I did when I wasn't doing music. I was listening to music, tinting cars with my friend Andy in his garage for work.
Nice.
So as long as it's something creative and artistic, that you can, have a product after
Fair
and
enough.
say, yeah, this is what I did. I put my, whatever, everything into it. I think that's what I would do. But I don't see myself not doing music. I think I'd be pretty pathetic as a person.
Fair
without
enough.
Music. I'm being honest.
Fair enough.
So,
And then the last simple question that you hear all the time, but it's also a stock question. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? 5 years from today?
I see myself doing what I'm doing now, but at a higher level and doing more and more connected and more out there.
Another
And
Juno
rich.
by then?
Yeah, and hopefully a Grammy.